Hey everyone, so in today's video I'm trying out stop motion animation, which I've never tried before, surprisingly. I went to school for animation, so I did like 2D traditional animation on paper. I've done vector animation in Toon Boom, and I've done 3D animation in Maya, but I've never tried stop motion before. Originally, I didn't even know that I was going to be doing stop motion for this video. What I like to do is just hop on Skillshare and look up different types of tutorials for things I've never tried before. Skillshare is a website with video tutorials on all kinds of creative topics like drawing, painting, animating, stuff like that. And they are sponsoring today's video. Like I said, I just love going to the website to find something new to learn about because it's all tutorials and there's so much that's relevant to my interests, and I've been finding so many new things to try. If you go with an annual plan, their premium membership runs you about $10 a month, and that gives you unlimited access to all of the tutorials that they have. But if you use my link in the video description, you can get your first 2 months for free. But that's only for the first 500 people who use the link, so if you're interested in trying it out, link is below. I was looking at the categories on Skillshare, and animation stood out to me because of my animation background, and I don't animate a whole lot anymore, and so I wanted to see what kind of animation videos they had, and I came across one about making stop motion videos with your phone. I'm sure so many people already know about apps that let you do stop motion videos, but I never thought of that. I've never heard of those before, so I was like, ooh, what is this? You don't need any kind of fancy editing equipment or anything. You just need your phone and an app, and then the things you're gonna animate with, and maybe like something to set your phone on, like a tripod, but it's a pretty basic setup. And I was like, that sounds amazing, and like something maybe more people want to know about because it's so accessible. So I was looking at the stuff I have around the house, and I thought it would be really cool to animate something on the refrigerator because it's magnetic. So I have my tripod set up here with my phone on top. There's a clamp that holds my phone to the top, and then I have a power cord running down. It's plugged into the wall because I don't want my phone to lose power while I'm doing this. And then from the other side, I have my headphones that came with the phone plugged in, and that way I can use the volume up button as a shutter button. That way I'm not bumping my phone so that my shots will stay nice and aligned. Jamie's video that I watched on Skillshare showed a different setup with a tripod, and I thought it was very simple yet very genius with supplies everyone has around the house, so definitely check out her video, not only to see her setup, but for all the tips and tricks that she offers. So I decided to start off with a Super Mario scene because I have all these little Mario magnets, and I thought it's just too perfect. So I decided to animate Mario running through a little level, and he hits the question block and a mushroom comes out, and I didn't know what I really wanted to do because I thought, okay, it could be a red mushroom, but he'd get bigger, and I don't have a bigger Mario magnet to use. So I thought, okay, what if a green mushroom comes out, and instead of it being a 1-up mushroom, what if he turns into Luigi because Luigi's green? Or should I say green Mario? So I started off with Mario out of frame, and he comes running in, and I move him a little bit, take a picture, move him a little bit more, take another picture. For his run, I wanted it to be pretty fast, so he's touching the ground and then he's in the air for one frame, then touching the ground the next frame. I knew I wanted mine to be kind of fast. I'm used to animating at 24 frames a second, and usually that means 12 drawings per second because each one is held for 2 seconds. So I kept that in mind here. So I had to have 12 pictures for each second of animation. You can adjust the speed in the playback, which is really nice, so you can find a speed that's suitable for you. In the end, mine probably ended up being too fast. I maybe could have slowed it down to 10 frames a second. There are also just other areas in this where I should have added more pauses. It kind of just jumps from one thing to the next, especially in the second half. As you'll see, it's kind of like jumps, gets the mushroom immediately, keeps running immediately, and jumps, and it's just, I could have used more pauses maybe. If you just want to hold a single frame for longer, you can do that inside the software, so you can edit it that way. But if you wanted to add like eases, that's like when the character kind of slows into a motion or slows out of a motion, that would be something you have to actually animate. The software that I'm using is called Stop Motion Studio, and it's actually free to download. I did download the paid version, but I didn't even end up using any of the paid features. So you can totally make do with the free version. It's very simple to use, although I'm so glad I watched a tutorial because I would have been so lost. I even had to go back and reference things because the UI was just slightly different on my phone. One thing you really want to make sure you do with this is turn off all the automatic settings. So there's like auto white balance, autofocus. I had to leave autofocus on because if I turned it off, everything was blurry and I couldn't set a focus even with tapping on the screen. So I had to leave autofocus on, but I turned off auto white balance and whatever the other auto feature was. But if you go back to the previous screen to review your animation, it resets everything. So I had those settings turned off. And then I went back and reviewed the initial run before continuing the animation, and it was just messed up after that. It was like kind of flickering because it returned on auto white balance and all that, so that was a little frustrating. Anyway, here's the finished Mario animation. Like I said, it's missing some pauses, but I thought it was kind of silly with him turning into Luigi, and then Luigi gets the red mushroom. You think he's turning back into Mario, but no, he turns into Patrick. So for my second animation, I wanted to do it on the fridge as well, and I wanted to use these little magnetic balls that I have because it would allow me to sort of draw in a sense. With the Mario figures, I could just move them around, but this one would allow me to actually create a little character. It was a bit tricky because I only had so many balls and it was hard to make little triangles, like the ears, you'll notice, are very misshapen. And it's supposed to be a cat yawning, and so when the mouth opened really wide, I wanted him to have two little fangs, but again, it was just too hard with the magnets. It's hard to do small things because the magnets just start to collapse on each other, and like I said, triangles are not easy. For this one, I knew it was going to involve duplicating frames and looping because I want the mouth to stretch open like he's yawning, and I want him to quiver a little bit as his mouth is open, and then he's going to close his mouth again. So pretty much I only animated half of it. I animated him opening his mouth, and for the quiver, I just did 2 frames. They're pretty similar to each other, it's just adding a bit of jitter. Then I went back to the previous screen where you can edit your frames. I duplicated the quivering ones so that they would alternate between the two, and then I grabbed the frames from the beginning of the animation, copied them to the end, and reversed them so that they played back to front. It's actually pretty easy to do that because the reverse function is built in there. It did take me a little bit of trial and error because I've never used the app before, so I had to get used to it. But once you figure out how to use the controls, it's pretty easy. At one point I had to realign it because my cat was playing with a toy and she ran into the tripod and bumped it, and that's the worst because you do not want to bump your camera when you're doing stop motion. So I had to realign it, and luckily there's this ghosting feature in here. It brings up I don't know if they call it this in this app, but I know it as an onion skin where you can see a bit of your previous frame while you're working on your current frame. And so I could bring up that ghosted image and align my camera that way. What's more distracting than the bump is the fact that the white balance and everything is going crazy in this one again. So there he is, little kitty yawning. Now for my final animation, I wanted to do something with art supplies, and I wanted to try a face down filming approach. So I wanted to do something with my Copic markers, I decided, because why not? I have a lot of them. And I was talking with chat because I was live streaming at the time, and we thought it would be funny if the Copic markers were trying to send a message. And so what they're saying is, help us because I'm evil and they're trying to escape my wrath or something, or they're mistreated by me. I don't know, but they just want to get across the message, help us. And for this one, I actually animated stuff out of order because, as I learned in that Skillshare video, if you have something kind of intricate, it's easier to first animate it in its final form. Like for example, Jamie, she animated these coffee beans that spelt out the word coffee, and they're supposed to assemble themselves into the word coffee, but that's kind of hard to do smoothly. So she actually had it pre-written out, coffee, and then she animated backwards and slowly spread out the beans. So I used that technique in this. I started with a border already made in Copics. It's not as intricate as the coffee bean thing, but I did the border first and animated the help us section, even though that's the second half of the animation. And then I went in and animated the border moving, and then I just rearranged the frames in the editing function within the app. This one I totally screwed up because I forgot from the very beginning to disable the auto white balance, so the colors are flickering everywhere in the background. But it's okay, it's okay. I'm trying to not let it bother me too much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know my animations weren't anything real fancy. Really, it was just an experiment on my part, but it's really motivating me to do something more adventurous next time, like maybe even making some kind of plush animal with wire in it that I could animate, or just maybe even try claymation, something like that. I'm like, oh, so many possibilities with stop motion. It was also just really fun because I was like, oh, maybe it'll be too tedious. It was not that bad at all, at least for someone who was used to animating. I felt like it was pretty easy, at least for the basic stuff I was doing. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget about the link down below for the 2 free months of Skillshare. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.